Hi guys, this is DCRS here, and I'll be doing a video today on tech choices, or in this case side deck choices, for your deck and your side deck for Yu-Gi-Oh! So main deck and side deck. So yeah, I like to talk about this briefly because tech choices are really good when it comes to playing the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And tech choices are in fact one of the few things that let you win the game, or in this case help you win the game. And yeah, tech choices are, and side deck tech cards are one of the good things about Yu-Gi-Oh! That makes it, well, fun, I guess you could say, in a way, and competitively in a way. But yeah, I like to discuss some things that can be relevant to today's format, or in this case, this current format, the July format, and soon to be, soon to be the September format. But yeah, let's begin. Maxi. Now, Maxi is one of the cards that is really good, and a lot of decks special summon a lot nowadays. You can use it against Shadow, Stellite special summon a lot. They need to special summon so they can XYZ and stuff, and that allows you to go +1 and +2. What I mean by +1 +2 means you draw. So every time you special summon, you draw a card, and Maxi is one of those good cards that, well, is amazing. It depends on how you use it, so just it depends on when you play it, because you can either draw one or draw none, depending if you activate or not correctly. Anyway, Neospatial Grand Mole. Grand Mole is a really good card for today's format, because a lot of the cards are summoned from the extra deck, like let's say the Shadow Fusion monsters, or synchros, XYZs, fusions, anything basically. It just Grand Mole says, nope, go back to your hand, or in this case, go back to the extra deck. Grand Mole is really good. Puppet Plant. Puppet Plant is a great side card for mostly Shadows and what's another one? Stell Knights. Stell Knights and Shadows, Warrior and Spellcasters. They're really good, and also you can use against other cards as well. Pretty much a free mind control, in this case a free change of heart, and what that allows you to do is take control of the monster and do whatever you want with it until the end phase, and give it back to your opponent. So you can do whatever you want, even attack your opponent's monster with it, the monster that you've taken control of. Now, Dimensional Fissure is another great card for today's format, because Dimensional Fissure allows you to banish monsters that are sent from the field, hand, whatever, to the graveyard deck even. Because it's a great card in this format, because a lot of things needed to be sent to the graveyard to activate their effects, and if they don't get to the graveyard, then they can't activate their effects. And that's why Dimensional Fissure is good. But it won't work on XYZ monsters when they detach, because they're not treated as a XYZ material, so they're not treated as an actual monster. So just be wary of XYZ materials and actual monsters. Kaiser Coliseum. This card is wonderful when it comes to playing against the mirror match or in other matches, depending on how the field is played. Kaiser Coliseum allows you to control the game in your favor, as long as your opponent doesn't change the course of your field. You can have as many monsters as you want, and your opponent has to control that many. Since a lot of monsters nowadays XYZ summon, Synchro summon, they require 2 or more space on the field. Kaiser Coliseum is probably one of the better cards in this format. So yeah, it also needs an errata as well, because this card is too broken as its own text. It needs to be errated. Mind Control is another good card, as I said, for Puppet Plant. Mind Control is a really good game changer in this format. It allows you to take control of your opponent's monster, and lets you do what you want with it, except for tributing and attacking. But yeah, it's good for XYZs and Synchros and Fusions. It's amazing. MST, well, is pretty much is very clear. Mystical Space Typhoon has been one of the best cards used in the main deck and side deck of Yu-Gi-Oh! And personally, it's one of the best cards you would use. It can either be used in the main deck or the side deck, as I said, but it depends on how the format is. If the format is fast, you would use MST, Mystical Space Typhoons in the deck. But otherwise, if it's a slower type of format, you would probably run it... Oh, no, wait, it's the other way around. I think in faster formats you would side it, but... Yeah, I think that's how it works. If it's faster format, you side it, and if it's a slower format, you main it, because it allows you to control the game more. Doberman Crossout's good, because a lot of people normally set monsters. Also, it's good against Shaddolls, if you have this card. Great card against Shaddolls. And yeah, it's a good card against the... Well, I don't know, it depends. It depends. I'm not sure if any monsters... Oh, it's good against Gravekeepers, I suppose. Gravekeepers are one of those things that use flip effects. Other than that, it's only good against the Shadow for the current format. Soul Charge. I have a feeling Soul Charge might get hit on the ban list. So, I'm not too sure about if you would use more than 2. But, yeah, Soul Charge is a good card to allow game-changing plays as long as you have life points to give at the end of the time you use it. Soul Release is another good card because it allows you to banish 5 cards from either player's graveyard, and yeah, it up to 5 cards. So that pretty much says a lot when it comes to banishing a lot of cards, because banishing cards helps control the game, and if your opponent can't deal with the cards he's left or she's left in the graveyard, then they can't do much. Now, Super Poly is going to be a good card for the current format and also future formats as well, because once Nodin comes out, this card is pretty much going to be main decked in every deck, because Super Poly is one of the most broken cards ever made, and it's one of my most favorite cards to ever use, because Super Poly changes games. In a way, it does change games, because you have no monsters on the field, you have plenty of cards to discard, your opponent just spawns so many cards, you pretty much use their monsters for the fusion summon, since it says either player's turn, either player's monsters, either player's monsters from, monsters from either side of the field, so you can use your opponent's monsters for a fusion summon of your own. So it's really, really good. Now, XYZ Encore is one of the most useful cards to use, because XYZ Encore allows you to basically, if you're versing an XYZ base deck, this is the perfect card for it, because for today's current meta, no one uses XYZ Encore. I don't know why, but XYZ Encore is a great card when it comes to defusioning XYZs. I guess you could say it's a term for defusing XYZs, because it special summons them back onto the field with the materials that they use, and it lowers the level by 1, and your opponent cannot respond to it. It's like Super Poly in a way, but for it's basically like a XYZ diffusion with Super Poly effect. But yeah, 1 becomes 2 and 2 becomes 1. Super Poly's 2 become 1, 1 is become 2 for XYZ Encore. But yeah, if they don't have an XYZ for it, if they don't have the XYZ materials that they have to use for an XYZ, they can't do anything. But yeah, now for the trap lineup for side decking or techs in main or side. Band Played On. Band Played On is a really, really good card when it comes to changing the pace of the game, because Band Plays On allows you to, well, in this case, it's a great card against Stellar Knights and Burning Abyss, the top 3 decks, Burning Abyss and Stellar Knights, but it's not that good against Shadow, because they have multiple levels, so it's not that good. But other than that, Band Played On is a great tech card for Burning Abyss and Stellar Knights. It's a perfect card. to counter things. I have a feeling a Band Playdon is going to be a very popular tech choice in the future, but even though it's already been played. Breakthrough Skill, one of the most useful cards of the current format and soon to be future formats, if the game goes on in the way it's meant to be for monster effects, if that makes sense at all. Breakthrough Skill can allow you to control the game in any way. It allows you to turn off monster effects at any time you choose, as long as you have it in your graveyard when it comes to your play, when your turn. Because if you have this in your graveyard during your turn, you can banish it to target one of your opponent's monsters and pretty much negate it. Also, when it's in the graveyard, it's not actually activating at all. So if you have it in the graveyard and you use it against a Shien, a Six Samurai Shien, they can't negate it because it's not actually activating. It's actually in the graveyard to use as an effect. I think it's hard to explain, but it's one of those things where if you activate on the field, Shien can negate it, and a lot of things can negate it. But when Breakthrough Skill and all those graveyard effects, they're not actually activating at all on the field. They're activating in the graveyard. So there's a difference between the field and grave that affects. It's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. It's very tricky to explain. But let's just say that. Compulse is a great card in this format because a lot of things summon from the extra deck and also from the hand as well. Stronger monsters, and Compulse can say nope, go back to your hand, or go back to the extra deck. Now, Curse Seal of Forbidden Spell is a great card against decks that use spell cards a lot. And if it's a main spell card, you can just negate it and let your opponent not activate it again for the entire duel. Rest of this duel, actually. So, yeah. But they can use it for the match, the other times in the match, but they just can't use it for the whole match. Debunk, a lot of things activate in the graveyard. Let's see, the top three decks activate in the graveyard: Shadows, Stellar Knights, Burning Abyss. They activate in the graveyard. So Debunk is going to be one of those popular cards to use this format, and maybe future formats as well. It was useful in the side deck for a mirror match against Bujins, but a lot of people use it for different types of decks that activate graveyard effects and hand effects as well. Don't forget hand effects. So yeah. Also, what else was there? It's useful against other types of decks as well, like Infernis in a way, I suppose, but not really, because they don't really care about if you have one type negation. They can just do multiple activations. It's not the best card against Infernis. Deep Dark Trap Hole. Probably one of the more secret cards of the format, I should say. Normally people use Deep Dark Trap Hole, but it's a really good card against Shadows and Dragon Rulers. It was mostly used during the Dragon Rule format, but in the current format, I think it's a great card against Shadows because Winder and Construct, they go banish when they summoned, when you have Deep Dark Trap Hole in the field. So it's a good card. Light Brizzly Mirror to stop all those light type monster effects. It's a great card against light type of decks, and yeah, no explanation needed other than it's if a light monster activates their effect on the field or in the graveyard, you can just negate. Well, it negates it immediately. It's like a skill drain. Well, an activating skill drain for light monsters. As I said before, for Dimensional Feature, Macrocosmos is a great card to use. It's just that if you don't have a good way to come back from it, Macro can be a double-edged sword to you. Macro is always a double-edged sword for both players. It depends on how the decks can cooperate without needing to be sent to the graveyard. Depends how much consistency the deck can manage. But yeah. Malevolent how do I say this card? Malevolent Catastrophe. Malevolent Catastrophe is one of the good cards to use this format as a popular choice, I guess you could say, because when your opponent attacks, monsters attacks, you could say nope, heavy storm the field. That's pretty much what Malevolent Catastrophe is. It's pretty much a heavy storm for when your opponent monster attacks. It's a good card. It's a good surprise card against back row users. It's a good card against Stone Knights, I guess you could say. You just negate this immediately, and yeah. They lose a monster, but they get a +1. Actually, it's a -1, I guess you could say. Well, no, yeah, it's a -1. So they go minus, or in this case, even out. I don't know. Main Crush is good because a lot of things search these days, and Main Crush is like, nope, you cannot search. Your card goes to the graveyard, and also I get to look at your hand if you have more cards in there that are with the same name. Also, I get to take a look and see what you're planning, and you can't do anything about it. But you need at least one card in your hand to actually activate this effect, because if you declare wrong, well, you have to discard that one card randomly. Needle Sealing. A lot of decks, well, since it's a more faster format, Needle Sealing is a great card against decks that spawn the field, but it's not that good against monsters that can't be destroyed by card attacks. So Needle Sealing is a great card when you are versing a deck that usually spams the field, I guess you could say. It spams spawns? No, spams the field straight away. So Needle Sealing is a great card. This format, so yeah. Royal Decree. I don't know why not many people are running this, but Royal Decree is an amazing card. This format, it shuts down Stell Knight. It shuts down Burning Abyss. That was on the tip of my mind. It shuts down Burning Abyss. It doesn't shut down Shadows because they can work without traps. So this is a good side card for Shadows. But when it comes to other decks, this card is a great card, and it will shut down every single deck that uses traps. So if you can't work around Royal Decree, or you have to MST it to actually get past it. But other than that, if you don't have an MST, you can't activate traps at all. They will just get negated. But yeah, Royal Decree is an amazing card in this format. I don't know why people aren't running it. It's a brilliant card, and I'm actually using it in one of my decks. I always side Royal Decrees because Royal Decree is a game changer. Well, not really a game changer. It's more of I control the field and you can't do anything about it. And yeah. Shadow Prisoner Mirror, good against dark types decks, Burning Abyss and Shadow, and all types of decks that use dark monsters. Skill Drain is Skill Drain. This is one of the most hated cards ever, and Skill Drain is actually one of the most useful cards of today's meta, because Skill Drain negates every monster effects, even if they're not activating the effects. It negates everything. So Skill Drain, it's using Yang Zings at the moment, but once Skill Drain is just amazing. It pretty much controls the game. Well, today's meta, as long as it doesn't get MST'd or dragoned. That's the only thing that you have to worry about. But other than that, Skill Drain is one of the most great cards of today's meta. Now, Skill Prisoner. Skill Prisoner, in my opinion, is a great card because a lot of things target nowadays. So, if you target, you can just say, nope, I will negate that effect after I target my own monster. And when you target your monster with this card, anything that... Oh wait, it does be a monster effect, doesn't it? So when any monster, so any monster, basically the first effect activates when you're a monster. When you're using a monster effect on it, oh crap. Hold on a second. Oh, okay, sorry about that. Skill Prisoner, it's actually a good card because when monster effects target your monster, you can just use Skill Prisoner to protect your monster from being targeted by a monster effect. And I guess that's why people don't run it, because a lot of cards use spells and traps to target nowadays, I suppose. But Skill Prisoner is a great card when it comes to a monster effect actually negating it. So yeah, Skill Prisoner is a pretty good card. Also, Soul Drain. Soul Drain is another card that's really, really good. Soul Drain, well, basically, monster effects activate in the graveyard. They have to start a chain. And Soul Drain changes games. It changes anything. If a Stellar Knight or a Burning Abyss or a Shadow or I guess you could say Gravekeeper or Heroes, anything that starts a chain, it will get negated. So Soul Drain is an amazing card. It works with by banish effects and also by graveyard effects. So yeah, Soul Drain is a great card. Legion Dirge. Anything that XYZs, you pretty much say no to that, and they cannot do anything about it until they have MST or Decree. But yeah, Stygian Dirge is probably one of the best cards used against XYZ decks this format. It's good against the other two decks, Burning Abyss and Stell Knights. It's great against them, and also decks at XYZ. Now, Vanny's Emptiness. This is one of the cards that is actually one of the most expensive side deck choices and main deck choices, but it's also one of the most powerful cards in existence of tech cards. Vanny's Emptiness is absolutely amazing. It negates anything, and you can turn it off at any time you want, as long as you just send a card to graveyard by your deck or the field. But yeah, Vanny's Emptiness is very, very good. It changes games. It controls the game a lot, and it's a very, very powerful card. And yeah, it's in today's meta, it's run at 3, but I have a feeling Vanities and Soul Charge might get hit because they're too powerful. And yeah, well, Soul Charge is not really a big thing, but it's still a power card. And Vanity's Emptiness is a very, very good power card because all the decks special summon nowadays, and you can't do anything about it. Now, for extra deck options. I know it's a side deck, but it's actually extra deck because I prefer to explain it straight away. Now, Catasta. Catasta is good because a lot of decks that aren't Dark related just get immediately destroyed at the start of the damage step. It's good. Amani's one of the best cards for today's meta because a lot of effects activate when they're sent to the graveyard to activate the effects, and Amani says no when your monster is destroyed, and they can't activate the effects until the end of the damage step, and that's kind of too late for them to activate the effect because they can't. They activate within the damage step rather than outside of the end of the damage step. Black Rose, soon to get reprinted. I want this card to get reprinted because it's good, and Black Rose is a very, very good card that needs to get reprinted ASAP, because Black Rose is one of the top 2 choices when it comes to Synchros. Stardust and Black Rose, those two are the most powerful cards ever released, and for Synchros, and level 7, level 8, and they are, well, Black Rose, I guess you could say for this topic. Black Rose, when it's Synchro summoned, you can choose to destroy everything on the field, and it's like pretty much like an X-Storm, but better. And yeah, Black Rose is, yeah, it changes games. It does. It really, really changes games. It decides who's a winner, and yeah, Black Rose, a good card, and soon to get reprinted. So you better get that when the 5Ds collection comes out, because Black Rose is a very, very, very good card for today's format, because a lot of people usually synchro for 7. Staria is a good one because, well, if your deck can synchro and you can make this card, do it, because Staria is a really good card this format. And when you attack, and also when it's synchro summon, it can't be negated. So yeah, Staria is very busted. And yeah, it's a very, very big monster, and when you attack, it's unaffected by anything. So no Shadows, no Stellar Knights effects. No, Stellar Knights, how do they work? No, they don't. No trap effects, no monster effects, nothing can, or spells, depending when this card attacks. So yeah, Staria is a very, very good card for today's format, and I don't know why people aren't running it, but Staria is a great card. Well, it's hard to summon, I guess you could say, since it's level 11. Level 10, level 11. But yeah, it's the first generic one. But yeah, Staria is very, very good. Very, very good. Now, next card, HTS Behemoth. Behemoth? 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 I have no idea how to say this word. Basically, the psychic dog. Behemoth is very, 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 very useful in today's meta. It's a great card for level 6s, and if you can't destroy the monster, just banish it after damage calculation. So yeah, Behemoth is great. It's amazing. I make it in my level 6 synchros, and Behemoth pretty much says, okay, I'm laying you wide open to control the game, and pretty much allow you to open for OTKs. So yeah, Behemoth is amazing. Last but not least, Rhapsody and Berserk. Well, if you have a chance to make rank 4s, I would suggest using this in the extra deck, because Rhapsody allows you to control your opponent's graveyard, and you can basically banish up to 2, and you can activate both of their effects. You can activate his effects both times during this turn, I believe. You can use it up to twice per turn. Yep. So it's a great card, because if you want to change the game, basically control the game, you would banish cards in your opponent's graveyard, and yeah, it controls the game. But yeah, this is my tech choices, side decks, tech main deck choices for discussion. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this little discussion. Sorry it was a bit long. Wow, 26 minutes, nearly 27. But yeah, this is DCRS here, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Sorry for lack of uploads, but I've been a bit busy. See ya, bye.